Hi guys, it's me, Mrs. Boyce and Miss Dow. I hope you're doing well. I really missed you guys. Can you see this? How to draw it? On my screen, I see how to draw Yoda. Sorry. May the fourth be with you yesterday. And now I can't get out of it. Guys, what? Okay, there we go. Sorry if you saw that. Okay, so we're going to be giving you a test. We're going to be assigning a test in the next couple of days. So, we're going to go over a review right now. I'm going to go over the first page with you, and then you guys are going to do the rest. We'll upload an answer key, and then there will be an 8.3 and 8.5 test, okay? So let's take a look at this first part where it says graphing quadratic functions review, identify the key characteristics. Okay, so looking at this graph, we know a couple of things, right? Well, actually, we know a lot of them. We know that what the axis of symmetry is, right? Remember, the axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex. Well, there's my vertex, right? See that dot right there? So my vertex, I'm going to write that actually in my second, I'm going to write that in my first line. So my vertex, not like that, people. Okay, hold on. So my vertex, based on the graph, is I moved over 1 and down 4. So my vertex is 1, negative 4. That means my axis of symmetry, which I can put in line B, axis of symmetry, remember, is the x value of the vertex. So simply x is equal to 1. All right, my third thing I can talk about, the domain, right? I can tell you that the domain is all real numbers, right? All my domains are all real numbers. Good. And I can also talk about in letter D then, if I'm talking about my range, well, why don't I then talk about my range as well? And the range, because my graph opens up, yes, it's opening up, it looks like a U, then my range is y is greater than or equal to, and it would be the y value of the vertex. So the y value of the vertex, remember up here, is negative 4. So it would be y is greater than or equal to a negative 4. All right, what else can we talk about? We can talk about our x-intercepts, yes? So in other words, where is this graph crossing the x-axis? Remember, here's your x-axis. We can even put a little x right there. This is your x-axis. So our x-intercepts is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So look at my 2 dots here. That would have to be, hold on. Those would have to be at x equals negative 1 and at x equals 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry, just wanted to make sure I counted correctly. So that's where my x-intercepts would be. And I guess the last thing we can talk about, because that graph opens up, right, we can talk about our vertex being a maximum or minimum. And again, because it opens up, it would be a minimum because it's the lowest point on the graph. So our vertex would be a minimum. So this is what we're going to be asking you for in most of the examples throughout the review. Okay, so why don't we look back at this, make sure you look back at this to see how I'm getting all of these. Okay, and then let's take a look at our standard form and our intercept form. So this is just looking at a graph identifying the characteristics. Now let's look at our standard form and our intercept form. So here's standard form. It looks like we have our A, B, and C. So remember, to find the x value of the vertex, right, the x value of the vertex, you're doing the opposite of B over 2A. So opposite B over 2A. So now I'm going to actually try and write this out. So the opposite of B would be a positive 4, because right now it's a negative 4. So let's put it as a positive 4 over 2A, which would be 2 times 2, okay? So that would be 4 divided by 4, right? And 4 divided by 4, of course, we know is 1. So that's the x value of the vertex. And remember, the x value of the vertex is the axis of symmetry. So I can jot that down right away. All right, so that's one of my characteristics. I can say, okay, the axis of symmetry is x equals 1. And then I can start with my vertex. I know that my vertex is 1 comma something, right? So what is that something? Well, let's plug this 1 back into my equation. All right, why don't you take a minute to do that, and let's make sure we get the same answer. Pause me here, take a look. Let's see that we get the same answer. Okay, and what we should have gotten was 1 comma 1, actually, right? If we plug 1 up in here, we should have gotten 1 as the y value as well. Okay, I know my domain, right, is all real numbers. So our ARN, I'm going to write my range. Well, let's talk about our range. Let's actually graph this before we do our range, because I think it's sometimes easier to see on the graph the range. Okay, so if I know my vertex is 1, 1, let's put that here. Okay, and then remember how we graph these? We do our 1A, 3A, 5A. So I'm going to do that over here. I'm going to do 1A, 3A, and 5A. And so our A is 2 in this case, right? Let's go back up to the original equation. Our A is 2 because that's attached to the x squared. So that means I have 1 times 2, I have 3 times 2, and I have 5 times 2. Okay, so that means I get 2, 6, and 10. All right, so that means, remember, I'm going up 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the left 1, up, here, let me do it actually while I'm saying it. So from the vertex, I go up 2 to the right 1, and then I'm also going to go up 2 to the left 1. Then I'm going to use the 6, right, because that's the 3A, that's the shortcut. I'm going to go up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right 1. I hope I counted correctly. And up 6 to the left 1. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. And then again, we connect our points, and you're going to do it much nicer than I am on paper rather than my crazy marker and mouse. Okay, so now looking at the range, now let's see. All right, well, we know that because it's opening up. We know, and you could have done the range before graphing, but I just think it's easier to look at. We're going to say y is greater than or equal to, we know, because it's opening up. And the y value of the vertex is 1. So y is greater than or equal to 1. All right, and we're not going to do the x-intercepts for this one because we're not in factored form. We're in standard form. We're not in intercept form. So the only other thing we have to say is whether this vertex is a maximum or minimum. And again, because it's opening up, we know it is a minimum point, the lowest point on the graph. So, oh, I don't want this to be underlined. Still not. Now, people, why is it still underlined? Okay, minimum. There you go. Okay, so that's the standard form. If you recall how to graph that with our shortcut, 1A, 3A, 5A. And now let's look at intercept form. So remember, intercept form, kind of just took a quiz on it, I think, like just a couple days ago. So we know that our intercepts, that's what we can find out right away. Our intercepts are x equals -7 and x equals -3. Remember, what we're doing is we're setting x plus 7 0 and then x plus 3 equals to 0 and solving. Okay, now that we have our x-intercepts, then what we do to find our vertex is we add those two together. We find the midpoint between these two. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, we're going to say -7 plus -3, and then we're going to divide that by 2 because that's the middle point. So let's do that. So that what happens is you get -7 plus -3 is -10, and -10 divided by 2. Divided by regular 2, not -2. Why did I put that there? Sorry about that. Let me erase that over here. Divided by regular 2. And so we know the x value of our vertex is -5. Okay, that's the x value of the vertex. Let me jot that down too for you. So let's see. And remember, we know that the x value of the vertex is, you got it, the axis of symmetry. Okay, so let's jot that down. I'm a lot jotting down here. So axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex, so x equals -5. And then let's find the actual vertex. I'll just make an arrow from here, because we started finding our vertex here. That was the x value of the vertex. Now what do I do with that x value? Let's plug that -5 back in everywhere you see an x for the equation. Okay, so again, take a minute, jot down, stop, pause the video, and then come back to me. Let's see if we got the same answer. So your vertex should be -5, and then I got +4. All right, so whoa, sorry about that. So right now we have what? We have the axis of symmetry, we have the vertex, we have the x-intercepts. We know we can find the domain because that's our all real number, so I'm going to jot that down too. And again, we're going to do the range next. You can figure it out with the graph, or you can do it beforehand. This time I'll do it beforehand. So I know the graph is opening down. Why do I know that before I've even graphed? because of this negative right here. That negative right there tells us that the graph is opening down. Okay, great. So that means I know my y is going to be less than or equal to the y value of the vertex. And the y value of the vertex is that 4. So I know that the range is going to be y is less than or equal to 4. Okay, now let's go ahead and graph. So I have my x-intercepts, right? I have, where am I? Okay, I have -3, 1, 2, 3, and I have -7, so 4, 5, 6, 7. I know that my vertex is -5, 1, 2, 3, 4. There I am. And remember, I can just plot my, I can just connect my 3 dots and making it look like a lovely U, right? How nice. Okay. So now, oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So now what I can do, we got the range, right? Y is less than or equal to 4. And then the last thing I have here to talk about is the minimum or maximum. So give it a try. What do you think before I write it, right? The graph is opening down. So what is this vertex going to be? You guessed it. Good job. It's going to be a maximum. Okay, so I'm going to send these notes to you with this filled out answer key. I'm going to send you blank notes and then, or the blank review, and then you guys can fill out the rest and we'll send the answer key either sometime today or tomorrow. All right? All right, I hope you guys are having a great day. Miss Dow and I really miss you guys, and we hope you're all doing well. Thanks. Bye.